Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and I'm here to talk to you about my favourite bits about Dying Light 2, and the reasons why it's awesome. Now this is early on in the game, so there won't be any spoilers in this video, but I want to talk to you about some of my favourite parts that I've played so far, and the reasons why I like it. Now this is an incredibly well polished game on PC. It's smooth, it's great fun to play, and there's a lot of fun to be had with the parkour, the zombie bashing, and the various RPG elements of it. It's really enjoyable, and one of the things that I really enjoy is just how well polished the parkour is. Now you can see me trying to run away from zombies in the chase mode there, where I've accidentally set off one of the noisy ones and it's alerted all the others, and then you're trying to run away from them. But what you won't see necessarily, and what you will have to experience for yourself, is just how well done the parkour is. Now I generally hate platform games because I usually just fall off and get really frustrated with it, but the elements of this game where the parkour is designed just works really smoothly. It's incredibly well polished and it's really easy to pull off great maneuvers and jump, climb and run across good distances, and just find lots of enjoyment in jumping from thing to thing, especially at night when you're in those chase modes, when you're trying to get away from hordes of endless zombies that are after your brains. And those guys are fast as well, so there's quite a lot of thrills in doing that. The world is also massive, but it's really well designed in that there's things that are closely positioned, so it's possible to jump to them, and you can easily just turn your head and work out where you're going to jump to next, and it's really satisfying to be able to pull this off. And the main drawback is obviously your stamina. If you try and climb things early on in the game, especially high things, you'll soon find you run out of stamina and then you fall down. But you can upgrade your stamina quite quickly and easily by finding inhibitors, which I'm doing a separate video on how to find those, and that makes life a lot easier. But you can see even from this basic parkour trail running thing, which you basically have to do on a timer, that is pretty smooth, and I rarely failed, although I didn't get a great score, so I'm sure you can do better than me. But just the experience of that is really good. I'd usually hate this sort of thing in games, but I found it really good, and I think that's a highlight to the overall design of it. It's just really well polished and a lot of fun to be had. Now obviously the next fun thing that you've already seen a little bit of is the zombie bashing and just the general combat. The basic combat with Dying Light 2 is really well designed because you have the ability to craft a variety of weapons, and you find loads of weapons around in the world. Early on in the game there's no guns, so it's all about that melee combat and various different blunt instruments, chopping weapons and things. You can modify a lot of the weapons and add on things to them, so eventually be able to electrify them, add fire and poison effects and various other things, so you can make them more effective over time. And obviously leveling up your weapons means that you can then level up the damage they'll do to the various levels of zombies and enemies in the game. But you can also find throwable objects, throwing knives, bricks, bottles, molotovs. You can find gas canisters that you can set off and throw those. Those work as a distraction, so you can distract the enemy, but also make a nice big explosion. And one of the things that I liked in this game that carried on from the original as well is you'll find a lot of areas where there's like spikes sticking out of walls or various different obstacles in the game. You can see some of them here as I'm running around. You can kick, so you can kick people into them, you can hit zombies into them, and they'll end up getting skewered on those spikes, and there's a really satisfying maneuver to be able to pull off. So the combat's really good, and you'll also increase your abilities in terms of the combat because you can eventually unlock things like dodge and abilities like that. You can use block to effectively parry enemies and other things. The next thing I really like about this game is just the sheer size of it and the view. So on PC, the draw distance is fantastic, and you can see a really long way. You can climb up these big windmills and engage those. I'd recommend doing that early on because that gives you access to other things. And when you do so, you can then obviously go up there and see a great view of the world, and you get to see for a long way. You can see the mountains in the distance. You can see how much there is to explore. There's a lot to do, and there's a lot to see, and it's really well crafted and really well polished and really good looking. One downside that I noticed that a friend pointed out to me though is that if you look carefully, you'll see some of the trees, they seem to be using the same models for the trees, and in the distance they kind of just look a bit rubbish. You can see them here, they end up looking kind of square, and once I saw that I can't unsee it now. And go into your settings in the game and increase the draw distance so you can see further, and that seems to reduce some of it and negates some of that problem, so it makes it look a lot better. And The other bonus of this game is there's a co-op mode, so you can play with up to 4 people, and enjoy the zombie bashing in that way. So I'm looking forward to tracking out a lot more of that in the near future. So if you want to see the shenanigans we get up to, be sure to subscribe to see some that we're doing with my friends at the weekends. And here you can see some of that dashing, dodging, bashing combat. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Enjoy this game because it's fantastic. Thanks for watching.